All right, that's good to know, Charlemagne. Appreciate you. All right, DJ. All right, fries. Okay. So sometimes what happens is Mr. Vu is logging on now. When people call Mr. Voodoo, I think it interrupts the transmission. So hopefully, no more interruptions.
Yo, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem. So in the future, like when that happens, just log off and come back.
Okay, cool. No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah.
So yeah, what was happening was, hold on, there's a lot of noise out here. But
All right.
what was happening was they was trying to figure out who they wanted to put out. So we had a cipher or whatever. Now, backstory to that is that at the time, I was more into conscious lyrics, right? So my influences at the time were like Brother J, Public Enemy, YZ, Poor Righteous, Teachers, KRS, along with the Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, or whatever. So I had decided that you can't really feed babies steak. So I'll have to fall back and really focus on the lyricism, the lyrical aspect of what I'm doing. And I became more focused on lyricism than really, putting forth a message, right?
Right.
So what I did was I started writing rhymes or whatever, like in that way. So nobody had really known that I was like transitioning and doing. So when so this was like maybe the first time a lot of the guys were hearing these rhymes. So when we had the audition, that was really at the same time me kind of like testing how these lyrics, or whatever, how it was going to work. I remember I said I did Kapow, another MC bust like he was Pimple Puss. I burned down your backyard like I was Uncle Gus Black. I don't know how to act. I murder you with the yakety yak guy attack. Coming out the crevices and crack. If it wasn't for they raps, a lot of MCs would be whack. I got this sold up. Those that roll up get rolled up like a bluff, not puff, and blow the house up. I was saying that type of thing, and then I got to the like a Decepticon, and they was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? It blew everybody's mind because they hadn't heard those rhymes. You know what I'm saying? I was like really changing up and doing a lot of different things, and so when they heard that, they was like, yo, okay, we're going to go with Vu. And Vu, you got to put those rhymes that you said on the record that we do. You know what I'm saying? So we did that. So that's how the whole Fortress thing came about. And I became the dude that kind of like jumped off and started all of that off, the first one off of that. So like I say, God bless Charlemagne, God bless Vidal Gorin, God bless Randy Charlemagne, my man Ray, wherever you at. I don't know where you at, homie, but wherever you at, God bless, because those were the guys that saw and believed in me, from the very beginning. And the whole premise was that we was just going to, Fortress was going to be a place where young, talented artists could just drop shit and not have to worry about, the stupidity and the politics and all the wild stuff that was going on in the industry. Because contrary to belief, not everything was golden about the 90s. Not everything was golden about the 90s. It was a lot of whackness. It was a lot of bullshit. To get signed. The same things that is going on today. The same things that was happening back then. So, yeah, Charlemagne. No gimmicks, strictly skills, no gimmicks. That was the premise every time. And everywhere I went, I told them that. Strictly lyrics, no gimmicks. And that was the premise. And so that's how the whole thing started with Fortress and Entertainment. And yeah.
Your first single was "Come Off Hard" with the remix. Is that the first time on Wax?
First single, yeah. So we did for the rhymes I kicked to you earlier was for the song 45, Kicking It Live.
That was the B side.
Right, yeah, the B side. that was actually the first song we did, right? You know, when they heard those, they was like, put those, we need that. So Charlemagne formulated the beat for me, and I went in and I did it, and it was 45 kicking it live. That was actually the first song done. So we came back and we was like, okay, we need something else. And Charlemagne had this beat, and it went come off hard is the moral of the story. First of all, when he did that sample, he had me because I had been zoned into that Kane song for a minute anyway. So it just resonated. The energy and everything was crazy, you know. So, and then this beat, doom, 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 doom. I was like, oh, this is devious. This is hard. Have not heard anything like this.
Right.
Let me have that. And we went in and we did it. So that was we decided that that was going to be the A side. But when, but what happened was in the process, you know, um, Fortress Entertainment, um, Randy, Ray, V, and everyone was like, yo, Voo, that's hard, but we need something maybe a little bit more up tempo because they were worried that we're independent already. You understand what I'm saying? This is too hard. You're not, you may not ever get any play. You know what I'm saying? It's too hard. So I was like, damn, man, nah, this is the shit, man. Nah. Then Charlemagne came with the remix for that, which was the more up tempo one that had the horns and everything in it, which was dope. You know what I'm saying? But we
Right.
campaigned for the original one, the heart, that one, to be the A side and to be the A, you know, to be, we campaigned hard for it. Me and Charlemagne, we campaigned hard for it, you know, but at the same time, we did recognize that we wanted to be able to, you know, break that thing, being independent, like basically doing it out of the trunk of their cars. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we recorded that remix, but the funny thing about it is that the remix didn't get played. The hard one got played. That's the one that everybody, you know, knows and everybody loves, you know, and it just, it kind of works out that way sometimes, you know.
Right.
So that was the first joint coming off of Fortress.
You you dropped that in a year that was stiff with competition. Nas was dropping that year.
Yes,
Biggie. What
yes.
was the reaction like for that single when you dropped it on the streets? What kind of feedback were you getting?
It was crazy. It was crazy. I you know, like to have people like Premier, DJ Premier, Pete Rock, all of these guys that was like, you know, heavyweights, and they're playing your song. You know what I'm saying? And when you meet them, they're saying, "Yo, I really like that song. I really like the way you spit." You know, it just was crazy for me. You know, and then also it forced me because I knew what was out there, because I knew you had the Nas's, you had the Bigs, and you had a whole plethora, a whole other MCs out there. You know what I'm saying? So it forced me to be on my A game. You know, it really forced me to like really try to come with the hardest shit that I could, you know, because
Right.
of what was out there. I wanted to. I wanted to be spoken of in the same breath as those dudes.
Right.
So it was imperative that I come with the craziest shit that I could, you know, and like. But at that time, man, the reception, it was crazy. I couldn't believe it, you know. I couldn't believe it, but it was humbling, you know.
Right. During this time, is the plan to stay independent, or are we looking for a major label in the process?
Yeah. Now that's an interesting thing, because I'm gonna tell you the truth. I didn't have a plan, to tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? When it all started happening, it was like, okay, I connected with my man Trevor from the radio station. He's like, yo, let me manage you and represent you on that level because I think that we can take this to the next level. So on that end, I started recording songs and recording a demo to shop a deal. But at the same time, I was kind of like thinking, okay, well, what's the next thing on Fortress? What are we going to do on Fortress? And that's when the um, the first compilation came out. That compilation came out with L Swift, Ka, who is better known as Ka now. My man Tim, the Intimidator, G Blast, and then we did a group song. Um, at that time, uh, Hemlock was supposed to be on that compilation. All right, this is to show you how long ago, how the history and everything goes. But what happened was we held back on that song because we were shopping and we had some things going on the table. Now, in retrospect, I look back at that. I'm like, I shouldn't have did that. I should have just let that Hemlock thing rock because who knows what would have happened. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But so it never made the compilation, and it wound up being on a later single. But um, that was the plan initially, just to like um, put stuff on Fortress, you know. We looked at shopping and going to other places, but like I said, it just wound up always being the same thing, you know. It always wound up being, you a dope MC, but we don't hear hits and this, that, and the third. I mean, there's nothing different from what goes on today. So the solo deal never really happened, and I missed out on the opportunity with that compilation to kind of have another breakout single, you know, in that time frame. But yeah, I really wasn't sure at that time, man. I was just like so taken aback by how people were receiving me, and and I'm young and I'm just moving from spot to spot. Oh, we got to go here. Okay, let's go. Oh, we got to do Bob. Okay, let's go to Bob. Oh, we got to do Lyricist Lounge. Okay, let's do that. And I'm just hitting it, not really understanding what I'm building as I'm doing it.
Right.
And yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't initially a plan to just get a deal and get large. I just wanted the world to know who I was.
Right. Was it in the plan to be in a group? And can you tell us how the Natural Elements came to be?
Yeah, Natural Elements came as it wasn't a plan to be in the group. All of us started out as soloists. Swigger, who was the little homie at the time, was going to be a soloist. A Butter wasn't around at that moment, at that point, but we were all just soloists. Now, what happened? Well, now Natural Elements was a clique. All right. When I talk about the 7 MCs that was going into that small addict, cranking out shit every weekend, that was Natural Elements to me. Those were my homies. Those were the guys that, I looked up to. Those were the guys that looked out for me, made sure that no harm came my way, and vice versa. My man Tim is like my best friend, a brother to me. G, all of them. Dante, all of them. They were like big bros to me. So that was a clique. Natural Elements was a clique, of a group of MCs before we even talked about a rap group. They went wherever I went. If I had a show and Swigger was there with me. If I had a show, Ka was there with me. We was just, that's what it was. When people started seeing us together, they started, thinking, okay, maybe the group thing, are they a group? What's going on? Um, And oh yeah, V just said Essence too. Essence wherever you at, sis. Yeah, she was a factor. But so we traveled like that, you know, and but the group thing didn't officially happen until we got a demo deal with Def Jam through Dante Ross. Okay, so Dante Ross is peeping this thing that's going on that we're doing. He's seeing that we have this whole energy. Like everybody knew we rhymed with each other forever. Everybody knew each other's rhymes. We knew our songs. You know, Swigger could recite my songs like verbatim. You know, Ka could do my songs verbatim, and vice versa. We just knew. So it was like that vibe was already there. So Dante Ross is seeing this, and he's going, okay, I want a group. I've got some soloists and I got some things going on with Def Jam, but I really think that y'all would make a great group. So the plan was initially to put Ka, myself, and Swigger in the studio and have us do some songs and see how that turns out, right? So it was an experiment. It was basically an experiment. Let's put these three MCs in the studio and see what they crank out, you know. But like I said, we all had our own situation. Ka was in a group called Nightbreed with his man, and with our man, our brother, may he rest in peace, Kev. Swigger was doing his thing, and I was doing my thing. But we got into the studio with this Def Jam deal. Charlemagne once again blessed us with some craziness. And we came out with some stuff. We came out with some stuff that was crazy, you know. Triple Team, I Got Your Heart. Um, there was another one, World Ain't Fair. We came out with a couple of tracks. And it was crazy. But what happened was it wasn't right for Def Jam at that time. So they passed. But we was like, you know what? Let's keep this momentum going. So we fell back. Ka fell back and went back with with his man Kev for Nightbreed. And but me, myself and L, and then we at that point A Butter came into to the situation through Swigger. Um, A Butter had been rhyming on 99.9, I believe, with Mayhem Show, and met Swigger that way, and they connected, and Swigger brought him through to the studio, and from that point on, A Butter was family. He was a part of it. And then Essence we had. So Essence is in there, and she's rhyming too, and she's nasty. So we got that. So the second iteration of Natural Elements would come about when I put out the second single, which was Lyrical Tactics. And on that single, we had Shine, which was Natural Elements Will Forever, SHINE. That was the second iteration of Natural Elements. And that's where it became myself, Swigger, A Butter, and then we had Essence. Um, so that's the second iteration of Natural Elements. So as we are proceeding and, you know, we're getting a nice buzz, people are loving that song. They definitely want to hear more from Essence because they haven't heard a female spit like that. You know, you had Lauren and you had some others, but she was definitely like up there, you know, and then they wanted to definitely hear more from A because they didn't really know too much about A except that, you know, that's the kid that was killing it on Mayhem's, you know, radio show with Swigger. And so we kind of just thought, okay, let's let's get together, let's do some tracks and see what happens, right? And so that would be where that started. Now, the thing about what happened with Essence and why she never was on any of the songs after Shine was that it was a difference in vision. It wasn't no beef between us and her, but she wanted to move more along the lines of keeping it in-house, independent, kind of doing it ourselves, that whole thing, the DIY, you know what I'm saying? That she wanted us to keep that ethic. But we were trying to basically shop to get a decent deal so that we could, take it to maybe another level, So the object was basically with Natural Elements to shop a deal and get a major deal. But Essence kind of felt funny about that. She was kind of like, she was happy with the route that we were going up to this point and felt that we could really, build something from there. Which she wasn't wrong. Obviously, nothing wrong with that at all. But we had another way of doing it. So she was like, you know what? All right, I'm good. I'm going to just go over here and try to do this thing this way, my way. And that's how it got down to Mr. Vu, Swigger, and A Butter. And that